What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon to some out there. It is the Earthmaster here on the live stream with an update video here on this Tuesday, February 8th, 2022 date. It's about 9:52 a.m. California time. It's supposed to be 80 degrees out here today in this area of Northern California. Latest quake on the globe, a 5.5 earthquake in the area on the globe right there, right around the Philippines area. Right off the Philippine plate. Let's go ahead and check that out. The latest quake out there on the map. As we zoom in here, this happened just over an hour ago. Looks like around the East China Sea off the Philippine plate. Yeah, 5.5, and it looks like we had a little bit smaller one here too, 4.3 in the Japan region right there earlier, actually late last night it looks like. So a little bit of movement up here along this area of the Philippine plate and the Mariana Trench over the last 24 hours. Definitely seen some activity here south of Japan, a little bit deeper into that trench area with a 4.5, and then down here in the southern end of the right around the Micronesia area, Mariana Trench 5.2 at 66.2 kilometers. Deeper movement here on the east, a little bit of subsequent shallower earthquake there towards the west. Movement down into the Tonga and the Kermadec Trench area still continued overnight with a little bit of activity. Had a 5.2 right there. Pretty shallow surface quake around the Tonga Ridge, Tonga Trench area, well south of the volcanoes. Haven't seen too much movement around the volcanoes in the past couple days, which sits right up here in this region, but still overall pretty active along the Tonga and Kermadec Trench as far as lengthwise goes, and definitely some activity down here. We'll go ahead and check that out here on the EMSC model real quick. Stand by for 1 second. See if I can get this EMSC model, there we go, to pop up. Let's go ahead and zoom in here to the southern Pacific Ocean area, and we can see the activity that the USGS does not report. Of course, it's kind of funny though, as I've been saying that the past couple videos, they've been including some earthquakes of some odd magnitudes, well below 4.0 in the international region. So maybe they're going to start adding on the some further activity there on their map. Either way, here on their map, the EMSC model, you can see the movement down here through New Zealand, like I was talking about. Quite a few threes, upper 3.6 there. Right around the, looks like the Hikurangi subduction zone, looks like. And, of course, some further movement up north. And then you get into the 4-pointers that the USGS was showing. But activity continuing here in New Zealand as it shows. And activity up here around the Indonesia area as well. Quite a few threes kicking off there. Movement into Australia yesterday with a 2.2. Over there in the west, a 3.6. And a little bit of activity here to the eastern, or the eastern part here, with a 2.4. So quite a bit of movement, general movement in that area. There's the 4.5 that struck there within the last hour or so. These guys continue to show no activity up here along the Japan Trench and the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench as well. The Middle America Trench over here along Mexico, Guatemala southward, all still showing heightened activity in the mid to upper, or lower to mid 3 range in the magnitudes there. Go ahead and get back here. See, USGS does not report it, but it's okay, right? It's okay. Movement around the Middle East and the Mediterranean Sea, all pretty quiet. Haven't seen too much movement there today. Kind of the big picture, if you will. This is the South Atlantic Ocean and the Mid-Atlantic Ridge out here, seeing some activity ramp up with a 6.2 earthquake earlier this morning. 10.0 for the default kilometers there along this area of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Romanche fracture zone, it looks like. So that activity kind of kicking up a little bit. It's been pretty quiet here in this area of the world for the past couple weeks or so. Getting some back building of pressure up here along the, or down here in the South Sandwich Trench area. This movement here is from yesterday, but still seeing some activity ramp up here around the area to the south along the Antarctica Plate boundary here. See these fives kicking up here along this area. Wouldn't doubt if we start to see some further activity ramp up here with that movement pretty soon, probably today in the South Sandwich Trench area. South America, a little bit of movement around the Chile area, 4.5 at 38.5 kilometers. And let's go ahead and pop up y'all magnitudes here. In the Puerto Rico area, doesn't look like too much occurred overnight. Most of this activity kicking off from last night. Let's see here. Mona Passage, seen a little bit of movement, 3.0, Dominican Republic area. Let's see what else we got. Not a whole lot going on around the Caribbean plate, it looks like. A little bit of activity around Tulsa in Oklahoma in the States. We've got the Aquari Blast kicking up out here around the, wow. See what's out there. Would they be having an Aquari Blast right there at the international airport? It's a little on the odd side. So 1.3. I doubt if that's a Aquari Blast. If it is, that's a little on the weird side. It has been reviewed, but like I say, it's right there at the Tulsa International Airport, kind of right at the northern end of it. Kind of weird. Either way, I don't know. Kind of weird. If you guys know anything about this quake out here, about this Aquari Blast, let me know what you find out, because I'm kind of puzzled on that one. Shows a surface depth there, 1.3 at the airport there in Tulsa. It's moving up north of Enid, right around the Medford area, Kansas border. Seeing a little bit of activity kick up in the microquake range, it looks like, and a little bit of activity outside of Odessa with a 2.2 at 4.1 kilometers below the surface. What's going on here along the west coast? We got any further movement? Things starting to pick back up a little bit, looks like. Outside of Victorville, the Johnson Valley Fault as well. Nothing major, but definitely seen some activity ramp up here within the last hour and earlier this morning around the Ridgecrest area as well. Seeing a return of a swarm within this area just to the east of the Ridgecrest region there. You can see that movement there. Quite a few ones kicking off there, and looks like maybe that's about it. Ones and below for the magnitudes there of these earthquakes. There's some Salt Wells Valley area. Let's see what we got far as the satellite view goes within this region. Of course, I believe this is all subsequent aftershock activity from 2019 earthquakes down here. It's like between about 2 and 8 kilometers below the surface for a lot of these earthquakes. It's a desert out there. Not for sure how anyone could live out there in the desert, but it is what it is. I gotta have somewhat weather. I gotta have a little bit of rainfall once in a while. Anyway, working our way up north, eastern part of Sierra Nevada, pretty quiet. Nevada as well, just a little bit of movement around the Tonopah area to the west across the hills there. And some activity along the creeping section of the San Andreas Fault, with a little bit of activity off the San Andreas Fault here outside of the Hollister area. On the trying to think which fault system this is here. There's a little, I think there's another one that kind of runs up here before you get to the Zayante fault. Hopefully that one probably got slaughtered, but either way, you can see this little fault system here on the map just to the west where this activity occurring. But I believe there's another fault system that sits there. What do we got here? Still kicking up here, folks, in the Cobb area, Cobb Mountain region. I'm really thinking about taking a ride down there probably tomorrow, seeing what's kicking up here, because we've had, over the last 7 days here, we've had a pretty massive amount of earthquakes here around the Cobb Mountain area. Of course, I know there's hydrothermal operations here, and I kind of want to get over here to this power plant, this hydrothermal power plant, see if I can't interview someone and ask them about the earthquake process here. And then, of course, subsequently I'll post it up here to the channel, that interview. But I got a few questions about what's going on out there and how come we see periods of quietness and then periods of large upticks like this. And it could be just because of the pressure and the fracturing of the rock, but it'd still be cool to hear it from someone who may be in charge down there. So Look for that. Look for that. Maybe heading down there tomorrow or possibly on Thursday at the Clear Lake area. Of course, Mount Konocti sits up here. Beautiful volcanic view. I was up here yesterday looking at some areas of interest. Never did make it down here into the Cobb area, but it's a beautiful view. People got houses up here on the Mount Konocti area. There's still a lot of potential here. This is not completely extinct when it comes to the volcanoes. There's still a lot of gases and heat and whatnot, of course, right, with the hydrothermal plant nearby for possible future, future activity there at the volcano. So just kind of find it odd that people like to build homes right on volcanoes. Just I never did get that. What do we got here? All magnitudes. Go back here. There we go. Northern California area calmed down. Not a whole lot going on through the Oregon area as well. And movement up around the... excuse me. Still getting that. I'm still losing my voice periodically, folks. I think it's a lingering of the C virus that I had here a couple weeks ago. I heard it comes and goes in waves. Because the other day I had a fever. Then I got a stuffy nose and a cough. And now it's just, it takes my voice away sometimes. It's really weird. I'll be glad when this goes away completely. St. Helens area, pretty quiet. A couple of quarry blasts up there north of the region. And looks like Yellowstone. A little bit of activity out here north of the Yellowstone Lake area. Let's go ahead and check out the Yellowstone thumbnails while we're at it. I haven't seen that this morning yet. There we go. A little bit of, wow. A little bit of activity kicking up here right around the Lake Butte and the Promontory area. Let's see what we got going on here. Looks like this kicked up overnight. See these swarms there at Yellowstone kind of kick up and come as they please. We could just have a spitter spatter of earthquake activity and then it may die off, or it may pick up in a big fashion and continue for months. But right now, a good period of earthquakes there at the Yellowstone area. Looking at this map, at least this chart, 1, 2, you got to count these charts here, or these spikes. Those are the localized earthquakes. We got 4. I'm not going to count them all, but definitely probably about 15 or so earthquakes within that region of Yellowstone National Park. USGS here showing a few, about 8 of them. At Mammoth, they got this centered around 51 kilometers south-southeast of Mammoth. And the depths there around the 3 range. Nothing big. We did have a 2.8 at 11:43:55 UTC time. So 11:55. 11:43:55. See, that's the other thing. This thing's been messing with my memory a lot. This cold or whatever it is. 11:43:55. It's going to be this one. 11:43:55. Going to be the darker colored line, the thicker line, indicating the larger magnitude earthquake right here. Pretty crazy. Seeing that thing pop up just a little bit. This is definitely recorded all over the park, even these smaller earthquakes. So we'll see what this thing does. I'm wondering if I have a live seismograph station here on the charts of Yellowstone. I thought I did, but maybe took it down. Yeah, I don't see it up there, so I'll add that. I will add that station onto the list here as I post this up this update here to the channel in a minute. So other than that, folks, have a good day. Stay safe out there. Things kind of getting a little interesting out there, right? With some movement in the South Atlantic area and some further activity right around the North American plate and the Yellowstone area. So we will chat you guys a little bit later on, folks. Please stay safe out there and have a good day.